Hello again, people of the internet, and thank you for joining me. As many of you know, I am going to Peru in 50 days. To get ready, I have been practicing my Spanish. Una mesa para dos, por favor. And I've been working out regularly to get my little legs ready for the mountainous terrain. I've also been steadily saving to reach my goal amount of $1,300. You might be wondering, but Angie, how did you come up with that amount? Let me break it down. Sorry. We're going to break it down into 4 separate categories: accommodation, food, miscellaneous things, and tours. My budget for accommodation is usually $20 to $25. I personally prefer to stay in hostels. They can be super inexpensive, and they can be a great way to meet other travelers. Now, sometimes they can be overcrowded and a little smelly, but it's a small price to pay to have a cheap, safe place to lay your head. When I've had enough of the snoring and sharing showers with other people, I stay in Airbnbs. With Airbnbs, you can either rent a room in somebody else's place, or you can rent an entire apartment. It's also super important to make sure that the places that you're staying in have the amenities that you want. For instance, last summer in Europe, I learned the hard way that you should make sure that places have AC before you book them. I also like to make sure that they have washer and dryers that I can use, and I love places that offer free breakfast or have a kitchen that I can use. Which brings me to my next point: food. Eating out for every meal can deplete your budget fast. Also, those calories can add up pretty quickly. That's why I try to cook for myself at least once or twice a day. A good indication for how much you can plan to spend on food is how much you're spending on your accommodation. So for instance, since I'm spending $20 a day on my accommodation in Peru, I plan to spend $20 a day on food. If you're traveling with somebody else, a good way to spare some dollars is to split all your meals. Being cheap when it comes to food can leave you more money for other things. Which leads me to my next point: miscellaneous things. Miscellaneous things can include, but are not limited to, transportation, souvenirs for your friends, admittance into museums and such, and my personal favorite, alcohol. It's important to factor in those kind of things, otherwise you're gonna have a bad time. For these types of items, I think that an extra $20 a day will do it. So far we're at $20 for accommodation, $20 for food, and $20 for other things that you may need. That's $60 a day for 8 days, which equals $480. So you're probably wondering, where did I get $1,300 from? Well, I had to include the 2 tours that I wanted to do. I found a tour to Machu Picchu for $150. And one to Rainbow Mountain for $100. I'm not going to pay for the tours until I get there, but I hope that when I do, I can find it for a lot cheaper. But just in case, I'm bringing the money with me anyway. It's important to think about these things ahead of time so that you don't miss out on something because you didn't bring the money for it. Let's say I do spend that $250 while I'm there. That puts my budget at about a little over $700. I also always like to bring a few extra $100 just in case anything were to happen, like when I missed my flight in Malta, or I got my wallet stolen in Croatia. Things do happen, and it's important to be prepared for it. Plus, it's always nice to have a little bit of extra money. I hope these tips will help you plan your budget for your next trip. If there's anything I left out or there's any questions that you have, please leave them in the comment section below. Next week, I'm going to be talking about traveling alone and why you should do it. Sorry that this video was a little late. I had some technical difficulties and I almost gave up like 1,000 times. But thank you guys so much for watching. Hope to see y'all next week. Bye. If you enjoyed this video and have the desire to see more, be sure to hit subscribe. And don't forget to follow me on my other social medias. I hope to see y'all next Wednesday. Toodaloo, motherfucker.